Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. I don't even really know what to say. This episode was pretty much just like yesterday's episode. Disappointing. Only difference is I'm not angry like I was yesterday, but I'm disappointed, which is so much worse. You ever had a parent that told you that they weren't angry with you, they were disappointed? It hurts so much more. it hurts 1,000 times more when anyone tells you that they're disappointed than if they're angry at you. I don't know what the hell is going on with Carly and Drew at this point. I really don't. They keep doing this whole back and forth thing. Also, Drew, like an idiot, decided to make out with Carly instead of checking the food, and he almost burnt down the whole place. And if it wasn't for the alarm system and Olivia and Sonny rushing to try to put out the fire, I mean, you would have burnt down Michael and Willow's place. And of course, they get out there and like, oh, they have this dumb look on their face. And afterwards, Olivia's like, oh, well, you're off grill duty or whatever. And he's like, yeah, you're right. And he both start smiling. I'm like, what's funny? You just burnt the goddamn food. No one is going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, people probably want to eat some nice grilled food and they can't eat it because you two idiots can't keep it in your pants long enough. Are you kidding me? And you want to smile about that? And of course, Carly, the whole back and forth thing of, well, it's a good thing that it probably stopped us because I'm not really too sure if I want to go through this or not. You two idiots have been flirting with each other for months, okay? You finally made a decision, and now your dumbass wants to sit there and back out because you don't know if you're ready. Okay. So that happens. Nina has to pretty much kind of save the day because Olivia, like the idiot that she is, was on the phone getting upset that the dessert didn't come to the Quartermaines. And it turned out that Sonny was like, let me see that for a second, because Sonny was there with Leo. And Sonny was like, you delivered it to the Metro Court, which in turn also got the chef like really angry, and I guess they were going to sit there and quit. So Nina had to sit there and put out that fire and deliver the dessert to the Quartermaine's place. And the sad thing is that Olivia, we never actually saw Olivia thank her. Olivia has been damn near sabotaging her since day one and acting like a damn child about it. She screws up. She gets upset with Sonny talking about, oh, don't you have people? Why don't you do something? No, it's half your hotel. You do something. And it turned out Nina had to sit there and wound up saving her ass. At some point, I want to sit there and hear her say thank you. And my bad for screwing things up and almost getting our chef to quit. It's a sad day when I actually have to sit there and defend Nina, but here we are. I didn't address this yesterday, but what the hell is Yuri doing there? He's not working for Valentine anymore. I don't see him on anyone's payroll unless he just decided to be the Quartermaine security guard, which you don't really see any security guards there, so the hell is he doing there? Now, we find out later on that, Yuri and Terry wound up meeting up and, they look at each other and they introduce themselves to each other and they go off somewhere, so apparently that's going to be a new thing. So, okay, sure. We're doing something with Terry as far as her having a relationship. Finally. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't her fault. The actor decided to leave, so, it kind of left her just being like, the hell do I do at this point? But the fact that Yuri was just shoehorned in this episode just to, meet up with Terry just seemed kind of lazy. But I've been looking at the past 3 episodes. Well, one word that'll come to mind is lazy. Oh yeah, Scotty and Lisa was there. I don't think they really did anything. He said that he was going to give her a surprise or whatever. I don't really remember what the hell that's going to be about. But if it's what I think it's going to be, I think that Scott is going to propose to Ulbrich this time. Ulbrich again, and I think she's going to accept. I think she's going to accept. Oh, I know that they got interrupted by Victor, but they really didn't have a purpose of being in this episode. So hopefully next episode they'll show him actually, you know, doing something like maybe propose to her. Because otherwise, you just have people coming there to collect a paycheck. Now Victor was talking to Ava, and he pretty much kind of told her to play ball. He's like, "Listen, Nicholas is human. He made a mistake. He was in a weak moment. It takes two to tango. It's no secret that they haven't been having they have been having issues. You know, Ava and Nicholas for a while. And while I do agree that people do make mistakes and they are human, at the end of the day, cheating is not something that everyone can get over. You know, it's not something everyone can get over. So I understand if Ava is like, you know what, listen, I'm done. Um, and of course, you know, he threatens her by saying, hey, listen, you're either going to get on board and be part of the family, or be a liability. Pick. Um, Nicholas was snipped there hanging out with Spencer, who was practically feeling sorry for herself, wallowing in the corner about him not being with Trina. You know, his grand plan of trying to be a hero just didn't work out. And in no universe was that ever going to work out. Hell, even if Trina told on Nicholas, even if Trina told on Spencer to try to get herself off the hook, it still wouldn't have worked. Okay? The only thing that would have wound up happening was him going to jail. I mean, hell, in reality, when you really look at it, she would have got off anyway because of Oz and his testimony. So, in all reality, if he didn't say anything, he still would have been free, and she would have been free. But of course, that's hindsight 2020. And so yeah, he's not there feeling sorry for himself. And even Victor's like, yo, listen, you need to stop that. You need to stop that self wallowing. Be there for your father. Your father needs you. He loves you. And he doesn't know what he's going to sit there and do while you're gone. So, put on your big boy pants and start acting like an 18-year-old or 19 or however old he is. Of course, by the time he did go and find his father, Ava decides to blurt out in a living room that's not her own, in a living room where anyone could be walking back and forth, that Nicholas slept with Esme. Of course, this was brought on by the fact that Nicholas was like, listen, I want to get back together. We were having a lot of fun. And it's like, bro, listen, that's going to take time. And that's if she even decides she wants to forgive you. And don't get me wrong, it looks like Ava, in some ways, wants to forgive Nicholas, or still, at the very least, she's still in love with him. That didn't go away. But the hurt and the fact of being hurt again may be too much for her. So Nicholas pushing himself on her didn't do him any favors, because Ava pushing him away and also blurting out to damn near anyone else going to walk into the room of Nicholas' transgressions. So, to be honest, it was going to come out sooner or later. I just felt like, I don't know. It just so happens that Spencer just gets there in the room, when that happens, but whatever. It's a soap opera. So, there's certain little things I can get over as far as plot. I actually sat there and wondered what the hell was Finn and Liz doing there. It almost seemed like they were just entirely pointless, but they're in a good spot for right now. And Liz even apologized to Terry for being so hard on them. They get to a point, I guess they go some sort of like in a shed or a shack or something like that, and Liz tells Finn to go get a blanket. Now, before that happened, Liz takes his phone away. We're like, hey, listen, let's just kind of just do our own thing, no interruptions or whatever. So while Finn goes to try to look for a blanket somewhere, the phone goes off. Liz looks at Finn's phone and sees it's from Sarah, her sister. I'm just kind of looking at the whole thing like, why are you sitting there looking at who's calling his phone? Like, that's none of your damn business. It just seemed kind of odd and a little intrusive, but seeing how Finn has been just being very intrusive himself, I feel like it's kind of fair play. But anyway, she sees that phone call and she is not happy. So, whatever sort of goodwill that Finn thought he had with Liz, is just went out the damn window. I think that's pretty much about it for the most part. I don't think I really forgot too much of anything. I wound up doing this video again, so if I did want to miss something, I apologize for that. I think the only thing I was worried that I missed was the whole Drew and Carly thing, but I think I kind of already covered that. And if I didn't, long story short, Carly went back and forth and decided not to move forward because, I don't know, reasons. Which is really annoying, but whatever. One thing that I did say in my last video, and I don't want to forget about it in this video, is that, I heard that Holly's coming back. She's going to finish up her storyline about what happened and everything. This happened about 2 years ago. Okay? This happened about 2 years ago. From what I understand, um, Holly got the virus and it was really bad. And so I understood why they had to kind of shelve it the way that they did. But I'm like, 2 years later, they could have just recast and we could have, like, this did not need to take 2 years for it to come out. I understand that the actress is very essential to the story, and a lot of people like the actress, and so it does bring a certain. It does hit differently, you know? So I understand that. But I'm like, with 2 years, like, really? Really? 2 years? And we're now doing that? Also, there's rumors that Lulu's coming back, so I guess we'll just sit there and wait for that. Different actress, which is totally fine with me because I was not really too impressed with the last person that did Lulu. I have nothing against her. She wasn't terrible, but she wasn't like super great either. Anyway, I feel like that's about it. This episode was just as disappointing as it was the day before, and the day before that. And I feel like somehow tomorrow's even going to be just as disappointing. But I didn't want to see in the preview, so I could be wrong. I'm hoping wrong. It feels like, I don't know. They are stalling for, like, they have to rewrite some stuff. Maybe because the actress that plays Brit is leaving. They probably had a storyline planned for her, and then they got to sit down and scrap that. Because 4 days of a picnic, really, 4 days of a picnic. Sometimes I sit there and I look at this whole thing, and I'm like, how do you just sit there and write this whole thing out, play the episode, and have more than one person sit there and say, yeah, that's cool, that's acceptable. You know what? I'm actually done complaining right now. I feel like that's pretty much about it. I know that this show is gonna get better. It has to because it can't get any worse than this. Okay? That's for certain. It just can't get any worse than this. I really hope I'm wrong. Time will tell. And you know, and maybe I'm just feeling like this now because these episodes have just been just absolutely terrible. But if somebody was to sit there and ask me what was my favorite soap opera going on that's currently, I would have to say Days of Our Lives. This is something that pains me because I grew up watching this show since high school. And I just don't understand how do we go from that to 4 days of a goddamn picnic and people playing three-legged races and couples going back and forth. How do we get to this point? Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe, and I will see you in the next video.